So now that you've stepped into your role as president of the university, have your views on it changed at all?
Well, I certainly know a little bit more about what I'm doing, but I think in terms of the mission, in terms of the imperatives that were the charge that I received from the president of the church and the board of trustees, no, that hasn't changed.
What do you see as your main role as president?
I see my main role as helping us achieve the mission that the prophet's given us. And the mission really has two parts. One part is that we need to provide an environment where both spiritual learning and secular learning can be effectively integrated. An environment that's different than the normal academic institution in that respect. The second is that we need to provide opportunities for our students, all of our students, to learn the skills of leadership, how to take responsibility, how to be held accountable, how to deliver on promised performance results, so that when they leave here, they can provide leadership in their homes, in their community, in their profession, and in the church in building the kingdom.
So with that goal towards leadership, how do you see this school changing within the next 10 years?
Well, the imperatives that I see coming from the mission are that, first of all, we need to continue to improve the quality of the education. So I would hope that over the next 10 years, we'll make dramatic improvements, not just in what goes on in the classroom, but in the total experience. The quality of that experience, the effectiveness of the learning processes, all of those kind of things. The other thing that we need to do, but I don't think they're going to give us 10 years to do, is we need to lower the cost of education. We need to use these sacred funds, the appropriated funds that come from the tithing of the church. We need to use them much more judiciously and do more with less.
How do you propose doing that? What kind of changes would that cause?
Well, we've already identified a number of things on the administrative side that we can do, and I'll give you a couple of examples. One is that we need to make sure that the student employment opportunities, in fact, involve students learning those characteristics of leadership, so that every student job, whether it's at the PCC or whether it's here on campus, as well as all of the service leadership opportunities that we have on campus through the student association, through intramurals, through those kinds of things, all of those need to be exemplary in terms of leadership skills. I've also challenged the academic side of the house to really give some careful thought as to how they can help with these two imperatives, improving the quality of the education further and lowering the cost. And so over the next few months, we'll be pursuing a strategic planning process that will result in a handful of initiatives that I think should have a dramatic effect in even the coming year.
Well, cool. How would that change the different majors and departments?
Well, there are two things that I think with regards to the majors we need to do. One is clearly the number of majors affects the cost of education. And we need to make sure that we've aligned those majors with the realities of our student interests so that we have the seats we need in the places where the students want them and where they'll be able to get careers after getting that major and completing their degree here. But we also need to make sure that what we're teaching in the classroom really fits today's practice and tomorrow's needs, so that our students are better prepared when they go out there looking for a job, they want to have a successful career. Our education needs to be a great foundation for that, not just an average foundation for that.
Right. So does that mean then less majors perhaps, but more focus on the maybe internationally based majors, or?
We have to see where the student demand is the greatest and the opportunities are the greatest. It probably does mean that fewer majors where there are only a handful of students in them.
Okay.
Those are the majors that will get consolidated, and it may become more of a general ed major or an international studies category or something like that. But we we need to make sure that we're addressing the needs of our students and the opportunities in their home countries.
Right. So at the beginning, I guess the summer, you talked also a lot about wanting to get more involved in student life. How do you plan to do that?
Well, a number of ways. I'll just mention a couple. One is my wife and I are teaching a class in the fall.
Really?
It's a 7 a.m. class because that's what works with my schedule. It's Wednesday and Fridays. It's through the religion department, but it's a missionary preparation class. My wife and I love missionary work. We love doing it. We love teaching missionaries. And so this is the course we're teaching this fall. So we certainly imagine that we'll get to know some students very well if they're in our class. We also will be meeting with the individual wards or multi-ward events where we'll do firesides. We would like to, every Sunday evening, for example, do a fireside. In orientation, we're going to be doing, we're going to call it a morning side as opposed to a fireside, which will be a scripture study with my wife and myself for all the new students. And we intend to do that each semester. So we're looking at a number of things, and we're open to suggestions. But our hope is that we'll be able to get to know students in areas and in ways that really matter to them.
Well, that looks like something to look forward to. On that note, how would you like us students to help you in achieving all these goals that we've talked about? What kind of support are you looking for?
Well, I can think of two kinds right off. One is that we would dearly love to have every student fully committed to the mission of the school, understanding the mission, living the mission, so on. So, for example, a lot of the success that we'll have in terms of integrating spiritual learning with secular learning will have to do with the students being prepared when they come to class to make those kind of contributions, both spiritually and secularly. So they will have done their homework. They'll be ready for class. Now, we have to make sure the classes are engaging and interesting and exciting, and that's our responsibility. But obviously, anything the students can do to be better prepared, they'll learn more. The classes will be better because we won't be wasting time or covering things that should have been covered in advance. The second thing I think that would be very helpful is the students need to set high expectations, like I'm challenging the faculty and staff to set, and we need to all work together in meeting those expectations. That's what the Prophet has challenged us to do. I think that's the way we're going to be most successful in what we're doing.
So is that high expectations for themselves and for their classes?
Absolutely.
Well, that sounds good.
Good.
Is there anything else that you would like us or the students to know?
Well, my wife and I are delighted to be here. This is a wonderful place, and obviously Hawaii is a great place to have the setting too. But obviously what makes the place wonderful is the students, the staff, and the faculty, and the spirit that they bring. And we're delighted to have been called by a prophet to serve in this role. It's a great honor. It's very humbling. There's a lot to learn, but we're excited about the possibilities.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.